Hi, and welcome to this vocabulary lesson because we are going to look at synonyms, collocations in context, and words that belong in the word family. I hope you'll stick around with me every single day, learn these 3,000 words with me. Somewhat. I put a picture here of showing a little bit. Somewhat. If you are somewhat happy about the situation, then it means you're happy, but moderately happy, not completely happy. Some synonyms for somewhat are pretty, and this is not the pretty like, don't I look good? No, this is the pretty meaning almost, rather, relatively, quite, fairly, to a degree, almost. So somewhat shows a mild degree. It's a way that we soften a statement. For example, the instructions were somewhat confusing. I mean, they were confusing, but if I put somewhat in there, I'm softening it just a little bit. Somewhat confusing, somewhat unclear, somewhat difficult. This means a little bit confusing. It's not extreme, but it is noticeable. We can use it for polite criticism. His response was somewhat inappropriate for the situation. Somewhat inappropriate or somewhat surprising, somewhat disappointing. This is a gentle or diplomatic way of criticizing. That was somewhat inappropriate. I'm saying it was inappropriate, but I'm making it a little bit less. Partial agreement or uncertainty. I somewhat agree with your point. Now, if I just leave it there, I'm saying, I'm almost there with you. But I think there's more to consider. I'm waiting for a but. If I use the word somewhat, I'm waiting for you to explain why you don't agree with it. Somewhat agree, somewhat understand, somewhat support. This means not fully agreeing. It leaves room for doubt and nuance. Somewhat can show a slight surprise. The movie was somewhat better than I expected. Somewhat better or somewhat worse. Somewhat different than I expected. This is a moderate difference from expectations. She has a somewhat reserved personality. You can say she has a reserved personality. If I say somewhat reserved, then I mean it's a little bit less than. A reserved personality is distant, it's formal. A somewhat reserved personality, I'm still saying she's distant and formal, but I'm trying to soften my extreme. I don't want to be offensive, but I still want to say this. Somewhat is the same as rather, and it's formal. The results were somewhat surprising given the amount of preparation the team had done. This is mild surprise, and we would say this in common academic or professional writing. Somewhat is more common in formal and written English than in casual conversation. Native speakers in everyday speech will say a bit or kind of or rather or pretty instead of using somewhat. For example, the formal is the project was somewhat successful, and informal, the project was pretty successful, or the project was kind of successful. The opposite of somewhat is very. There's no noun and no verb. This is not an adjective. It's an adverb that describes other adjectives. Somewhat. I really hope that you enjoyed this word. Research shows that if you know 3,000 words, then you can pretty much say anything you need to say. I hope I'll see you tomorrow, and please like and subscribe.